Hello YouTube, this is Straight Boss OV8 here with a video for the CEO slash special cargo crates. And in this video, okay, I'm kidding, I'm just acting like someone on YouTube, actually one of the best GTA YouTubers as far as grinders go, the professional. If you haven't checked them out, make sure to do so. That's where I learned most of my stuff. In this video though, there's a reason I'm sitting in this chair. And the reason why I spoofed the professional, because I think my guide to the special cargo is literally the best damn guide you're going to find on YouTube. Now, granted, this isn't a beginner's video. I know for the most part we do a lot of beginner stuff, but this video, kind of like my last video that I was the main focal point of, this is for high-level grinders that want to make money with the special cargo. Now, because there's several different key things that you will need. Now, you don't necessarily need to be a high level to have these things. I mean, you could have them if you have the money, you know, with shark cards, or if you're just a grinder and only a level 45, you could have a couple of the tools that are required for this, you know, with how you make money with the double and triple money and what have you. But in this video, I'm gonna show you what I feel is the absolute best way to run crates, fill up your warehouses fast, and sell them more often, getting the max amount of money. So with that said, let's get the video. Okay, I'm starting out here at my CEO office. You could have a CEO office literally anywhere. It's not, I don't think the location of the CEO office is all that key to this, but here I'm at my CEO office. I'm just showing the special cargo. This is what the video is about. Yeah, the reason why I'm showing this is I pretty much want to show you where the warehouses are, and this is one of the reasons why I think that I'm good at CEO cargo. I know a lot of the other videos, everything's based on opinion. Technically this is based about opinion, but I feel really strongly about how I run CEO crates, and I do think it is the best way to fill up your warehouses. So that's why I titled the video as such. You see my warehouses. I have three warehouses altogether. I have two large warehouses, and that's what I'm primarily going to be using for the video. I have one at the top of the city, one over to the right there. That one's far away from my office, obviously. But the reason why that warehouse is so key to this guide is that warehouse is literally right next to my arcade. It takes me less than 10 seconds to run from my warehouse to my arcade. So there I'm hinting at one of the key things that you're going to be needed to do this guide, and that is an arcade. And you'll obviously need the master control terminal to do such. So, because you can source CEO crates from your master control terminal. Now, talking about the arcade, here I'm going to show you. I showed you where the Darnell Bros large warehouse is on the map. Now I'm going to show you where my arcade is. It is the La Mesa arcade right there, and it's the Video Geddon arcade in La Mesa, and that's a really good arcade. That might be the best damn arcade in the game. It's really close to the casino for when you're doing the casino heist. I love how it is placed next to my large crate warehouse. That's one of the main points of the guide, is being able to source crates as fast as possible with an arcade with a master control terminal. That's how you're able to do this. Now, if you don't have an arcade, that's okay. You're going to want to look at warehouses that are close to your CEO office to do this. There you see my arcade right over there, running over to right there, that blue circle. That's the main door for my large warehouse. Okay, I'm going to go into my arcade, show you the master control terminal, and how we source crates from there. If you do not have an arcade, even if you're not a heist player, get the arcade, get the master control terminal. It is key for grinding literally anything. Even if you're not a grinder, the master control terminal is well worth it. Even if you just buy all your supplies all the time, you still need this. It saves you from doing trips all around the map. And you can see here, after I get insulted by Paige Harris, as she always does, I get onto the master control terminal, and you're able to run all your businesses from here. And here you do the special cargo. Now that I showed you the master control terminal and how you can source crates from there, now we're going to get into a little bit more of the requirements for this guide. Obviously, I think in almost any damn guide, you need the Oppressor Mark II. So that's there. I have my CEO buzzard out because that's helpful sometimes. That's not a requirement, but I don't know. I like flying helicopters, and I use my buzzard probably more than I actually need to, but I think it is helpful to have a CEO buzzard in case you absolutely destroy your Mark II or it gets impounded or whatever the case may be. So it's good to have a CEO vehicle as well, and you might as well have the buzzard because I think it's the best. Now, a really big part of having an arcade next to a warehouse, this is equally as important, is you need the Terabyte. The Terabyte is known as the ultimate grinding vehicle because of it's literally a mobile CEO office. Now what you do is you take your Terabyte, and you can see I'm doing here, I park my Terabyte right outside that large warehouse that is not next to my arcade. So now I have two locations where I'm able to source crates from. You know, obviously you can see the big parking lot there, easy to pull in a vehicle. Always get a warehouse that makes it easy to pull into because you're normally being chased by NPCs. Here on the map I show where my arcade is, where the other large warehouse is at. Now large warehouses aren't required for this guide. You could do it with medium warehouses if you choose. I think it's more profitable to use the large warehouses though. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and run a couple missions, and I edited a fair amount of this stuff out just because this is a lengthy video, and I do apologize for the length, but I do have quite a bit to say in the video in regarding to the special cargo crates. Now, I don't recommend buying one crate at a time. That's going to take you literally forever, and in this guide we're focusing on speed of filling up your warehouses so that you can sell it to make money. So there is a time, and I'll touch on that later in the video on when you should buy one crate at a time. But for right now, I highly recommend buying the 3 crates. Let's fill up these warehouses.
I've sent the collection point to your GPS.
Assistant calls.
Make the pickup and bring the goods.
And we're off to go get it. Alright, here I am. I will tell you what happened just because I have time to. I didn't get any actual footage of me killing the NPCs to get in the van. But I will tell you what happened is I did end up dying. And I did edit it on purpose. I edited it out just to save time. I did leave in the footage of me driving back to the warehouse though. But I did end up setting myself on fire. I killed all the NPCs with the missiles, but the ground was on fire there at the pier, and I ran through it to try to get in this van, and I caught on fire and died. So I did edit that out just to save time though, but I will tell you about it because I'm not embarrassed about it. You will die running crates. That's gonna happen. As you can see here, I don't recommend fighting the NPCs. Do as best as you can to drive them. Try not to waste time. There's going to be times they shoot you out of the vehicle. Then you're going to have to kill a couple of chodes to get in the vehicle. But for the most part, I do my best to outrun them, outdrive them. And that doesn't always work. I got lucky in this clip here. I was able to outrace them, got away from them, and I'm off to the warehouse. I also did get lucky by getting a vehicle. Anyone that runs special cargo crates, anytime you get a vehicle, it is a plus, especially when you're buying the 3 crates at a time, which you always should be. It costs more money, but it's more efficient in filling up your warehouse. As you can see, cargo's delivered. Now, we head over to the arcade right next door. Again, this is the Darnell Bros large warehouse in La Mesa. It might be the most expensive large warehouse offered. If it's not the most, it is very up there. It's within the top 3 large warehouses. It's costly, but it was more costly before they put arcades in the game. So it's not expensive because it has an arcade right next to it. It was expensive before the arcades were even thought of. So now I head over to my arcade, and we're going to source a crate from there, from the master control terminal. Alright, we're in. You sprint as you're trying to save time. As you notice, I am wearing the FIB outfit for the hacking device. I was doing a couple of heist preps before I shot these clips for this video. You go down to special cargo, source another crate. Now, one downfall, it's very minute downfall to sourcing from your arcade. Here I did want to point out the cooldown. Darnell Bros, and you can see there's a 3.5 minute cooldown. Now, if you only have one large warehouse, or if you only have one warehouse at all, you have to deal with a 5-minute cooldown. That's the way it is. That's why it's best to have 2, preferably 2 large. Granted, I do have a medium there. That was my first warehouse bot, and I didn't know shit about the game or their approach on how to do that. So, now, there's the slight inconvenience is, for some reason, when I source CEO crates from my arcade,
Bring them back to the warehouse.
You really don't get the full call, but that's okay. You know, it tells you what you got to do. You know you got to kill chodes and then bring them back. There I had a flare one. I threw a couple flares down. I got a 3 crate one. Here's a little tip, very minor tip. I do not take my vehicle. If I got single crates, I do not take my vehicle to the circle. I go to the man door. As you can see here, the reason why I go to the man door, you're literally right inside. You drop the crate. In a second, you're back out. You don't have to run to the where the vehicle drop off is. You go right back to your personal vehicle that you delivered the crate on. It's much quicker. You save, in all, probably 10 seconds per delivering a crate. So you're delivering 3 crates, you're saving a half a minute, and time is money. So now also, as you can see here, now I'm gonna show you with those crates delivered with the cooldown. And also another thing there I wanted to show is you're gonna 4-minute cooldown for the West Vinewood large warehouse. Another thing here I want to point out, another tip, is every so often, especially if you get a couple of the missions where you're delivering 3 crates, it's not just the one vehicle. Remember every so often, take your Mark II into your Terabyte, as that restocks the missiles on it. Hopefully you're not as unlucky as to get several single crates, 3 single crates missions in a row. That does happen, and when that does happen, if you need to fire missiles from your Mark II, you will need to restock the missiles. So I take my Mark II into my Terabyte. normally every other time I'm back at that warehouse. It's just something that I do.
We gonna make some deals?
So
How can I help you?
now with the missions being shown and little approaches on how to do it, you're pretty much just rotating back and forth between the warehouses, and you're eliminating the cooldown by having more than one warehouse. You could own up to 5 crate warehouses. I don't see the need for 5. The only reason to own more than one is to eliminate the cooldown. So I do have a medium warehouse. I was going to use my medium warehouse just to stock only the special items that get offered from your assistant. I highly recommend anytime your assistant calls and says that there's a special item for a little more money, absolutely do that mission. You make great money off that. So do those. I was going to use my medium warehouse just to do that, but I think you get capped at 4. I think you're only allowed to hold 4 special items that sell for a lot more than the regular crate money. Now here I'm showing you all the different warehouses in the city. As you can see, for the arcades that are at the top of the map, the Polito Bay Arcade, the arcade in Grapeseed, they are not good. They would be really bad. That arcade is not going to work. You need to get an arcade, obviously, in the city, and check out this warehouse map. Get an arcade somewhere within one of these, preferably a large warehouse. You can see here, that's where my large one is. There's a lot of warehouses south in the city. Obviously, I think this kind of is self-explanatory. I don't think you really want your warehouses side by side. I think it does, at first it kind of sounds like it would make sense to have 2 large warehouses extremely close to each other. But at the same point, you got to think you're going back and forth across the map. And about half the time when you're doing these missions, you know, if I'm sourcing crates from my arcade and I go over close to my CEO office, that's great because I'm delivering north in the city anyway. I'm not delivering all the way back. So there are a couple missions you'll see where you have to go a little more ways, but that's just the luck of the draw. There's really nowhere around there. There's a large warehouse there. You can see the price of it. Most large warehouses are going to be $2 million or a little bit higher, but that's okay because look at the amount of money you can make. Here, as I'm nearing 500 collections completed, almost 500 missions done with the CEO crates, I've made $34 million. Okay, now how you do that, and generally what I do, you got to think of it this way. For a large warehouse, okay, I'm going to give you the breakdown here. It's going to cost you $666,000 to fill a large warehouse. Okay, that will end up pulling you, when you go to sell that large warehouse when it's full, a 1.554 profit. Okay, now that's a good amount of profit. You're gaining $1.5 million profit. Okay, so that is a lot of money to make. That's how you make your office look like this. That kind of profit right there. Now, when there's double money on the CEO crates, that is when you're going to want to grind crates. And that's probably about a month ago, they did a event where it was double money for CEO crates. In that event, I filled my 2 large warehouses 4 times, sold them. I also filled my medium warehouse, sold them. When the money is doubled, you're still spending the $666,000 to fill a large warehouse, but you're selling it for $3.774 million. And that's where I got a large chunk of my money. Probably 3/4 of the money that I made on crates from was that week that it was double money. To fill a large warehouse, it's 37 missions to fill it. Now, I said I was going to talk about when to buy only a single crate. I highly recommend doing CEO crates in extremely low populated lobbies because doing crates costs you money. There's an initial cost, as I just talked about, the cost of what it takes to fill up a warehouse. So you don't really want to take the chance of getting griefed. So do crates in when you're in a crew lobby or a solo lobby at Nat type lobby, or if you just like the thrill of possibly being griefed, at least do it in a low populated lobby. And if you want to step up your game even more, at least buy one crate at a time, see if it gets messed with. If you get messed with, you know you can't run crates there. Or buy two crates instead of the one, so that way you could potentially have one crate sitting back there. If someone goes and messes with it because they really need $2,000, then you know you can't run crates in that lobby. And you shouldn't at that point, because then you're putting up the upfront cost and you end up going to be losing that money because you're not getting the crate for it. So I highly recommend, that's the only time I would buy one or two crates at a time. The rest of the time, definitely buy the three. It's more efficient. And that's about it for this video. I'm sure you finished all your popcorn, as this was almost the length of a movie. Just kidding, not quite a movie. But it was the length of a show on Netflix with no commercials. Half-hour sitcom. And that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. As again, this was a video mainly for high-level people. The requirements, you know, you need a terabyte, you need a Mark II, you need warehouse. Have an arcade. If you don't have an arcade, get a warehouse close to your CEO office, so that can be your second location to source them from. RP, great, love it. Alright guys, if you learned anything, got a chuckle out of anything, please go ahead, like and subscribe. We really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me and Orb Smoke and the rest of my crew that help make these videos. And we have more videos planned up, but I really wanted to do this CEO crate video because I mentioned it in past videos before a couple times, and it was about time for me to just fucking do it. So I did it, and I hope you enjoyed it. Alright, if you want to leave a comment, ideas for other videos, or if you like this video, or if you thought it was trash, go ahead and leave a comment. Alright guys, thank you, and we'll see you in the next vid.